Hey guys, it's Joseph back in here with another video. Today I want to talk about grad school and how you can succeed in grad school. In my previous video, I talked about my overall thoughts about if you're considering doing a master's. But today I want to give you guys 5 to 6 really practical things that I used when I was in grad school that helped me and I think would really benefit you if you are going to be entering grad school in the fall or you're already in grad school. This is the video for you. So the first thing I'd recommend is a mindset shift. I think undergrad is, in my perspective, significantly easier. I think that as you matriculate and you go through it and you kind of see the flow of everything, like I think undergrad gets to a point where like it's pretty easy. There's gonna have to be a mindset shift if you're gonna succeed in grad school. You're not going to be able to get over. Your professors are gonna know if you're trying to get over. You're gonna have to put the work in. It's no way around it. So if you kind of have this thought that you're gonna slip and slide, and I know people who have done that with their bachelors, like kind of just slip and slide, like, oh, I'm gonna do just enough to get a C or a B. That's not gonna work. You will fail out of grad school. You know, that just what it is. So a mindset shift is gonna have to take place where I understand that what it is that I'm doing, I'm gonna have to put the work in if I really want this. And I think that if you have that mindset shift and you understand that what you're doing is gonna require great sacrifice on your behalf and it's gonna require work, I think you'll be able to do it. But if you have anything other than that, you're thinking it's gonna be easy and, oh, I'm a finagle and finesse, probably that's not gonna work out for you. What goes along that with the mindset shift number 2 is discipline. Again, I think that undergrad you can be like I think that in undergrad if you've completed a bachelor's degree, I think that there is a level of discipline that you have mastered. I think that it takes, in any degree, I don't care what it is, to get a bachelor's degree requires some level of discipline. You have to show up to class. Even if you're not showing up to class, you got to turn in the assignments. You have to do some level of work and be accountable for your work. So I think that a level of discipline is developed. However, I think that at the same time, like, again, like you can kind of do things last minute, still come out okay. That's not gonna work in grad school. You're gonna have to be very disciplined. You're gonna have to have a schedule. You're gonna have to have a routine. When I was in grad school, I would literally for 2 days at the beginning of the week, because I already knew, like, you know, from week to week, I was gonna be reading like a book or 2 a week. So each week, the first 2 to 3 days, Monday to Wednesday, all I did was read. I wasn't writing nothing. Like, I would get up, I'm going to the coffee shop or I'm going to the library at the school, and I'm just sitting there for 5 or 6 hours and I'm reading and I'm taking notes so I understand. That's it. That takes discipline to get up, go do what you're supposed to do, even when nobody else is maybe sitting over here making you do it or telling you to do it, but you know what it is that you need to do to be able to show up to class and know what you're talking about, or be able to write that paper and it be a good paper. So you're gonna have to develop discipline. You're gonna have to have structure, far more than what you've ever had before. And the third thing, which leads into, is time management skills. As I stated, I had my whole week, when I was in grad school, I had my whole week structured. These were the days I was gonna read. These were the days I was gonna write. And then I would write for, a day or two. And then I would go on a particular day, maybe it might be like Saturday. Okay, now before I even turn in any of my work, I'm revising, I'm going through, because it's always good to come back to something with a fresh perspective, you know. And so revising on a day, having a day where you just going through, looking for grammar, revising, that allowed me to catch errors that I may not have caught when I was just writing the paper, for example. But you got to be disciplined. You got to have time. You have to have time management skills, and develop that. Know that, for this particular amount of time in a day, this is what I'm dedicating to read, or this is what I'm dedicating to write. And so, like I said, I would dedicate 5 to 6 hours of reading, per, at the beginning of the week. That's what I was gonna do. One little side tip I would suggest, if you're doing a master's that's going to be requiring a lot of reading from you, which most of them are, my suggestion would be read for 45 minutes and then take you 15 minutes and get up, walk around, go drink some water, go do something. There's something about the brain being constantly stimulated that after you've been constantly stimulated for so long, that you really stop retaining the information that you're reading. So like some of those people that like try to force themselves, like I'm gonna read for 6 hours straight, like I would highly suggest don't do that. Read for 30, 40 minutes. What I would do, I would have a timer set while I'm reading. I'm gonna read for 30, 40 minutes. And then once that timer hit, okay, now I'm gonna take me a 15-minute break. I'm gonna go eat a snack. I'm gonna get up and walk around, get my body moving a little bit. Then after that 15 minutes, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna sit down and read for another 30 to 40 minutes. You gotta understand, and this is just brain psychology. I'm not a psychology major, but this is what the studies show. Your brain really only has peak 4 to 5 hours of like maximum power. So you wanna get, whatever the hardest thing you need to do, which for my major was reading, you want to get that done in the beginning of the day, and use most of your brain power doing that, because you really only got about 4 or 5 hours, then your brain gonna start being like, so that would be my thing. Time management, pace yourself within your management of time, and structure your weeks. Know that, okay, on this day I'm gonna do this, this day I'm gonna do this, this day I'm gonna do this, this day I'm gonna do this. And so as you structure your week, you will be able to not be in a situation where you're trying to write this 20, 30 page paper last minute, because those are the kind of papers you're gonna be writing. When I was an underclassman, we wrote, it was like 5, 6 page papers, okay? And then when you're a freshman, sophomore, you're writing 2, 3 page papers. So I would say the most that I wrote when I was an undergrad was like 6, 7 pages. That changes in grad school. Your papers are gonna be like 30 pages long. That's just what it is. So that's a different level of writing, like you cannot write 20, 30 pages in one day. And you don't know what you're talking about, So you have to manage your time. Take the time, read and understand whatever it is that you need to read and understand before you start trying to write. Understand it. If there's things that you don't understand, go to office hours, talk to your professor. One thing I'm gonna say on the aspect of reading, for history, when I first started reading these higher level, these published articles and these academic books in history, man, I'm telling you, it's almost like learning a foreign language. I'm reading it, but and they speak in English, but I'm not understanding what they're saying. And so I had to work with my professor a lot. Okay, what Like, what is he saying? And so in history, historians, there's two different kinds of historians. You have the direct historian who gonna tell you what it is, and then you have the historian who likes to let you know that he went to Princeton or he has a PhD and he has this such expansive vocabulary. And there's a lot more historians like that who they're saying a lot, but they can say whatever they're saying a lot more simply. So you kind of, even when you're reading, you have to take time to be like, okay, what is this person really saying? That's why you need to make sure, because these are not simple readings. These are high level readings written by people with PhD. So you have to sit over here, take the time, understand what you're reading, and then structure your week. Okay, I'm gonna write, I'm gonna revise. That would be my biggest thing that I would suggest to somebody. The fourth thing I would tell somebody in grad school is you gotta learn how to advocate for yourself. And this is a big thing that really is applicable anywhere in life. But you gotta learn how to advocate for yourself. Your professor not gonna hold your hand. You know that from undergrad. Your professor not about to hold your hand, and if you don't understand something, gonna be like, okay, like that. You're gonna have to make the effort if you don't understand something to go to your professor and say, hey, I don't understand this. Can you help me understand this? Can you work with me to help me understand this? If you are doing a master's and you desire to do a PhD, it's your responsibility to advocate for yourself and let it be known in that particular school that, hey, I'm interested in doing the PhD. I want to be around professors who are studying things in my field. You need to advocate for yourself and let that be known if that is, what you want to do. You're gonna have to have this skill, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to get to the places that you want to get to. You're gonna be reading something and you're not gonna understand it, and you're just gonna be like, oh well, I don't understand it. Oh well, like, why am I getting an F on my paper? Because they're gonna just grade you. They're gonna be like, okay, I'm reading this and it don't look like he really understood it. He's not responding to the prompt correctly. Okay, we're gonna give him a D and you're gonna move on. No, you should go advocate for yourself. Hey, like, why did I get that D? Can you break it down and help me understand how I can do better on the next essay? Because the fact of the matter is, if everybody knew how to do graduate level work, then there would be no need to have graduate school. So you're not gonna come into it knowing how to do everything, and that's okay. A lot of times people, they have too much pride in their ego. Oh, I already know how to do everything. No, humble yourself. You don't know nothing. Just assume that you don't know nothing. Humble yourself and go to these people and tell them, hey, look, I don't understand this. I need help. And the biggest breakthroughs that I've sat over here and had, I literally had a professor one time, he was telling me, he said, man, like, what you're feeling and what you understand, like what the way you're feeling about, like how I was saying, like, I don't understand what I'm reading. He literally told me, like, yeah, like, that's normal for like everybody that is beginning to study history and, like, read higher level work. As you do it more, you will get better at reading and understanding, like, the certain key phrases that historians use, and when they're saying this, what they mean by certain things. That's gonna take time though, and he told me that. So he understood where I was coming from. So you'll make connections like that, and that's very important. It's very important. Don't feel like you have to do this all by yourself. The professors are there to support you. You have your cohorts who are there to support you, try to make connections with them. But my biggest thing, like I said, advocate for yourself. This is your education, so you're gonna make of it whatever you make of it. It's gonna be whatever you make of it, So, the fifth thing that I would suggest to anybody, the sixth thing I would suggest to anybody, and this is really important too, grad school is tough. It's time consuming. You are going to give, I look back sometimes, now that I've done it and I'm finished, I look back sometimes and I ask myself, like, I don't know how I did this. It's really just the power of God that must have been working in me, had to be working in me for me to do all the things that I did. I mean, I was a teaching assistant. I was working at a coffee shop. I was a grad student. Like, I was doing all these things and still trying to date. And I did it. But what I would tell somebody to is make sure even as you have your time management, within that, take time for yourself. Take time for yourself. Allow yourself that time, whether it be on a daily basis, whether it be on an every couple day basis, a weekly basis, whatever works for you. Allow yourself that time to release. Allow yourself that time to not think about school. That's okay. And if that release, like for me, sometimes I lived in a college town, like I would just go to the little college bar, have me a little Dos Equis beer, talk to some people, go home. That was all the release I needed. Or I would I lived in Arizona, so, I could go hiking. I would go for a walk. I would go hiking, and just, glaze into nature. And that was all the release that I needed. But you will need that release. People get burnt out and they get stressed out and they get tired of being a grad student, master's, PhD, because they don't sit over here and allow themselves to take that time to release. There will always be something to do as a grad student, whether you are working on, reading something, your coursework, your independent research that you're doing. You're always going to have a task that could be done. But again, this is time management. You have to make sure within that framework of time that you're creating for everything that you make time for yourself too. And that's really important if you are going to sustain yourself over the 2 to 3 years that it takes you to do this, and not be burnt out and not be tired. Make sure you take time for yourself. Make sure you take time to release and do something that you enjoy. It may not be going to the college town bar and having a drink, or going for a hike or a walk. Maybe it's drawing. Everybody's different. Whatever it is, make sure you do that though. So those are my things that I would suggest to anybody in grad school, or about to enter grad school. One thing I'll leave you with, I think is the most important out of all of them, and you will succeed, no doubt in my mind, if you do this. You change your mind. Your mind is gonna, I'm telling you, this is your mind is gonna completely change once you finish your master's. Your undergrad was a good introduction to whatever your field is, but your brain is gonna really change over these 2 to 3 years. Like, you're going to think like somebody in your field, even if you're not like, actively in that after you graduate. Like right now, I'm not in academia. I still think like a historian though. In everything I do, my brain processes information in that way. So your brain's gonna go through a lot of change. Understand that, and understand the mindset shift that has to take place for you to be successful. It has to. It's not optional. It has to take place. You have to sit over here and understand that this is not a get over thing, that you will have to put in the work. But if you do that and you understand that you're gonna put in the work, everything else gonna work itself out, I promise you. But what I've seen the most with some of the cohorts that didn't make it through with me, they didn't really understand that they had to put in the work. You know, it just didn't really like register and click in their mind that like, this is not like undergrad. Like, I need to work for this. Like, and like, not saying you have to work for your undergrad, but like, I have to take my level of work ethic to a entirely different level, a level that I'm not familiar with, a level that I don't understand. You're gonna have to do that if you really want this. So yeah, I wish you guys the best. If you have questions, leave them down in the comments. If you found any value in this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you happen to just like me and my personality, please subscribe to the channel for more. Until next time, my name is Joseph and I'm out. Peace.